Next up is Truedomain. Truedomain has an anti-phishing service for email. Presenting is Andrew Steele, co-founder and COO.
Thanks, Bill. Well, let's get right to it. Simply put, Truedomain is about stopping email-borne phishing attacks. Phishing is a huge problem. It's affected every one of us in this room, and maybe even some of us here have been victimized by it. Gartner puts the size of the problem at $3 billion a year. That's huge. And email is the most common channel used to launch attacks. It accounts for 2/3 of attacks year in, year out. So we're talking about an annual loss of $2 billion associated directly with this problem. And we think we've solved that problem. What we announced today here at the conference is the launch of our Truedomain Authentication Network. What that is, it's an email authentication clearinghouse that connects email senders on one side, email receivers on the other side, through a common technical framework. Now, there's two reasons that's important. First of all, that gives us the ability to ensure that email is being authenticated consistently across our receiver network, which is a much more complex problem than you might imagine. Secondly, it enables us to provide a unified feedback and analytics loop to our customers so they have visibility into what's happening downstream. They can see authentication results for their email. They can see delivery performance. And they also see data on phishing activity that's targeting their domains. Now, we're not announcing any specific customers at this point, but what I can tell you is that we are live. We've been live since February in commercial pilots. We're currently covering about 300 million consumer email accounts, and we handle authentication results for about 500 million emails a day, every day. So what are the benefits? Well, first and foremost, we prevent phishing attacks from reaching their intended targets. And in doing that, we provide a very clear ROI to our customers. And that's not only preventing the direct financial theft, but it's also mitigating the costs that come after attacks, things like customer support, mitigation, operational costs. Thirdly, we help protect the brand value and the trust relationships that our customers have with their customers from being negatively affected by phishing attacks. And lastly, we provide transparency. Email has historically been an anonymous black box ecosystem, and what we do is really lift the veil on that and show our customers what's happening throughout the entire network. So let me tell you how it works. Our customers, who are the senders, register with us. We do some basic accreditation to ensure they are who they say they are and they own the domains that they're asking us to protect. Now, our technology is integrated on the receiver side of the network, and that's where the authentication happens. For emails that pass authentication, they get delivered on through, and we give the receivers the ability to identify those emails with a trust icon so that the recipients can tell that that email is legit. For emails that fail authentication, we can apply one of a number of policies that are set by our sender customers, which more often than not is going to result in that email being blocked. Lastly, we aggregate all of the authentication results data across our network and present that back to our customers through a web-based dashboard. So let me give you here's a screenshot of our dashboard just to give you an idea of the sort of data we provide. Overall traffic, we provide authentication failure, both in terms of raw numbers and as a percentage of total traffic. And we also provide very detailed data down to the IP and even the message header level, so we help our customers identify where the attacks are coming from so they can cut them off at the knees and prevent them from happening in the future. So why are we going to win? Well, number one, these networks are really hard to build. We've been at it for a while, and we think that momentum behind that 500 million emails a day gives us a big leg up on our competition. And as we grow, we're going to create barriers for new competitors to enter the market. We've got the right team. Our core team has on average about 20 years of experience, and we bring really critical DNA to the party from companies like Microsoft, from Tumbleweed Security, from Google, from Mailblocks. Our architecture really gives us an advantage because we're authenticating simultaneously against multiple different authentication standards along with our own enhancements to really optimize the efficiency of the authentication process. This is also where we're focused on building our IP portfolio to protect that for the future. And everything we're doing from an infrastructure perspective is in the cloud. So that gives us a real cost advantage compared to the more traditional data center or appliance-based email security solutions that are the lion's share of the deployed base today. real quick on our target markets. We really look at two groups. Our customers are the senders, and we're focused on 5 key verticals: financial services, online retail, social web, consumer brands, and the government. We get distribution currently through consumer email services, but we're developing distribution partnerships with other players in the ecosystem to create channels to get into international markets and the enterprise. Looks like we lost a little bit of alignment here. Basically, we've gone to market with 2 services. TrueInsight is our authentication monitoring service. The business model for that is a flat annual fee per domain, which ranges from the low to mid hundreds of dollars per year per domain. And TrueProtect, which adds the policy enforcement and blocking to make it a true anti-phishing solution. That's a monthly recurring fee that's tiered based on email volume. Could be $10 a month for the corner bakery, up to $30,000, $40,000 a month for the biggest senders. Skip through that. So, go-to-market strategy. We've really identified a 3-stage strategy. What we're doing now is direct sales into early adopter and key strategic accounts. We're going to add in distribution channels next year to get us into, as I said, international and the enterprise. And then longer term, this model flips like it has for certificates, where inbound demand starts to drive sales. Now, from a revenue perspective,
Last
summary.
Okay.
Big problem, good proof points. We're going to win. No.
And
So
any questions?
if the problem is a few billion a year, how big is the market?
Well, we think, so one of the prerequisites for our business is that the senders have to be authenticating the email on the outbound. Now, if you look at the adoption rates in our key target markets, those range anywhere from 50 to 75% of the senders. So we think that our TAM, as we stand here today, is somewhere between $600 to $800 million. We see over the next 5 years that grows to about $1.5 billion a year.
Any other questions?
So I understand the reason why Netflix would like this, because they would increase their deliverability into my email box. From the consumer point of view, though, there's not that much extra protection for me other than that Netflix, I know that the Netflix email really is Netflix. I'll still get bad emails from these bad guys in Russia about Charles Schwab and so on.
Well, you might get spam. You know, the big difference here is spam is annoying, phishing is malicious. So if a bad guy is going to spoof Netflix, we're going to keep that email from getting into your inbox. So you as the consumer, you as the recipient actually do receive that extra protection against being tricked by these phishing attacks.
So you need both sides of the market to actually adopt the solution. So where are you in terms of penetrating the big webmail clients, Hotmail, Gmail, and so on and so forth?
So today on the receiver side, we've got coverage of about 30% of the consumer market. We're covering just north of 300 million consumer email boxes, and that's a worldwide footprint. So combined with our domain owner customers today, that's where we get to the 300 million mailboxes and the 500 million emails a day.
And you see, in terms of distribution, you see essentially partnering with people like GoDaddy so that you can have an option of all the things that try and upsell, saying, hey, protect
That's right.
your...
Well, that's where in that third stage where I think we start to see a model that looks a lot like SSL certificates. Those registrars like that are going to be really key channels for us, because if we can sell, a really affordable solution to protect your brand, protect your domain in the email channel when you buy your domain, it's almost like an impulse buy. So
At the right price point, yeah.
So to clarify, you might have had to skip over this. How did you get to the 300 million accounts? Who are your partners in
we haven't announced who our partners are at this point.
Okay.
We will be soon.
Oh, okay.
And have you been funded, or?
We just a couple weeks ago closed a seed funding round, which brings our total raise to date to 1.2 million.
Okay. Any other questions? Great. Thank you. Excellent.
Thanks, guys.
Great
Thanks,
job.
Bill.
Okay.
Thank you.